The rumor didn't begin with an announcement. It didn't start with a press release, a red carpet reveal, or even a confirmed sighting. It started quietly, almost invisibly, the way the most explosive stories often do. A post here, a whisper there, a screenshot that looked convincing enough to spark curiosity. Within hours, the names Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan were trending together again, but this time not for a drama, not for a performance, not for a reunion. This time it was something far more personal, far more shocking: marriage. The word spread like fire across platforms. Fans froze mid-scroll, reread headlines, refreshed feeds, searching for confirmation that never seemed to fully arrive, yet refused to disappear. It wasn't just another rumor. It felt different, bolder, louder, almost deliberate in the way it demanded attention. And then came the moment that changed everything. It happened during a tightly controlled media session, one of those interviews where every second is planned, every question screened, every response measured. The room was filled with soft lighting and quiet anticipation. Wang Yibo sat composed as always, dressed simply, his posture straight, his expression unreadable. He had done hundreds of these. Nothing about this one should have stood out, until it did. The interviewer hesitated before asking the question, as if even speaking it aloud might shift the atmosphere. "There are reports," she began carefully, "about a sudden marriage. Do you want to respond to that?" Silence followed. Not the kind of silence that feels empty, but the kind that stretches, heavy and electric, pulling every eye in the room toward him. For a brief second, Wang Yibo didn't react. No immediate denial, no confusion, just a pause that seemed to carry more weight than any answer could. He looked down, then back up. And when he finally spoke, his voice was calm, almost too calm for the storm surrounding him. "Some stories grow bigger than the truth," he said. That was it. No direct denial, no clarification, just a sentence that felt like both an answer and a mystery at the same time. Within minutes, clips of that moment flooded the internet. The pause was analyzed, his tone dissected. Even the smallest shift in his expression became evidence for countless theories. For some, his words confirmed nothing. For others, they confirmed everything. But to understand why this single moment felt so explosive, you have to go back to where it all truly began. Years ago, The Untamed had taken audiences by storm. It wasn't just a hit drama, it became a cultural phenomenon. At the center of it were Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan, two actors whose performances felt so natural, so deeply connected, that viewers couldn't help but become emotionally invested. Their characters shared a bond that was quiet yet powerful, filled with unspoken understanding and subtle intensity. It wasn't loud or exaggerated, it was controlled, almost restrained, which somehow made it even more compelling. And when the cameras stopped rolling, that connection didn't seem to disappear. Behind-the-scenes clips began circulating. Interviews captured moments that felt unscripted, shared glances, quiet laughter, reactions that seemed instinctive rather than performed. Fans started noticing patterns, small details that, when put together, created a narrative that extended far beyond the screen. At first, it was harmless speculation, a kind of collective imagination fueled by admiration. But over time, it grew into something much bigger. Communities formed, discussions became debates. Every public appearance turned into a source of clues. What were they wearing? Did their schedules overlap? Did a comment hint at something deeper? Nothing was too small to be examined. So when the idea of a secret marriage appeared, it didn't feel entirely impossible to those who had been following every detail for years. It felt like the kind of twist that had been building slowly, quietly, beneath the surface. But there was a problem. there was no proof. No official announcement, no credible source, no undeniable evidence, just fragments of information woven together into a story that felt real because so many people wanted it to be. Back in that interview room, Wang Yibo seemed fully aware of the storm outside. His response, brief as it was, carried a kind of deliberate ambiguity. It neither confirmed nor denied, and in doing so, it kept the story alive. Because clarity ends speculation, ambiguity feeds it. Meanwhile, Xiao Zhan remained silent. That silence became its own kind of statement. Fans watched his appearances closely, searching for signs, anything that might align with the narrative unfolding online. But like Wang Yibo, he revealed nothing. His expressions stayed composed, his words carefully chosen, his private life firmly out of reach. And that, perhaps, is where the real tension lies. In an industry where image is everything, where public perception can shape entire careers, privacy becomes both a shield and a strategy. Relationships, real or rumored, are not just personal matters. They are public events with real consequences. Every endorsement, every role, every fan interaction can be affected, which raises a question that lingers under all the speculation. If there were something real to reveal, would it ever be revealed this way? The idea of a sudden, secret marriage between two of the most closely watched figures in the industry feels almost cinematic, perfect for headlines, irresistible to fans, but incredibly difficult to sustain in reality without solid confirmation. And yet, the story refuses to fade, because it isn't just about facts, it's about emotion. For many fans, the connection they saw in The Untamed felt genuine, something rare and meaningful. The possibility that it might extend beyond the screen adds a layer of excitement, a sense that something extraordinary could exist just out of sight. Even without confirmation, that possibility is enough to keep the story alive. Back in the interview, as the conversation moved on, Wang Yibo returned to his usual composed self. He answered other questions, spoke about work, upcoming projects, the future. But the moment had already passed into something larger than itself. A single question, a single pause, a single sentence, and suddenly a rumor had become a global conversation. So what is the shocking truth behind this sudden marriage? The truth is simpler and perhaps more complicated than the headlines suggest. There is no confirmed marriage. There is no verified statement. There is no concrete evidence that Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan have taken that step. What exists instead is a powerful combination of on-screen chemistry, years of fan investment, and the kind of storytelling that happens when imagination fills in the gaps left by silence. And maybe that's why the story feels so compelling, because it sits right on the edge between reality and possibility. Not fully real, not entirely imagined, just enough of both to keep people watching, waiting, wondering. As the clips continue to circulate and the discussions continue to evolve, one thing remains clear. Sometimes the most captivating stories aren't the ones that are confirmed. They're the ones that leave just enough unsaid to keep everyone guessing.